Minnow had been patient. She had been patient for a long, long time now, all considered. More patient than she ever thought she could be. Probably patient enough that now, if life had gone on as it should have, living along the beaches of Branch Clan, she would have learned how to hunt entire schools of fish just by sitting patiently by the waterways. But she wasn't in Branch Clan learning how to fish. Instead, she was here, in the meadows of Meadow Clan, patiently waiting, like all the grown cats around her had been telling her to do for what felt like many, many sunrises now. Every morning she woke up and patiently waited to be let out of the thorn-ringed nursery by the Meadow Clan queens or Jasperi. Every afternoon, she patiently let the youngest kits chew on her ears and play with her tail. Every sun-high, she patiently waited for her small allotment of what felt like tinier and tinier bits of mice and birds that the warriors brought back to camp. And every evening, she waited patiently for Petalstar to finally send those same warriors out on a mission to find the kit's missing clanmates. Minnow was done being patient and waiting for the warriors to decide when to make their move. And really, why should she still wait? Especially now that there were more warriors who had arrived into Meadow Clan, after all. They had come in that afternoon, sweeping into camp with their mouths full of exotic-smelling herbs and twigs, and, thankfully, several fat rabbits and birds. Their arrival had ended up being extremely noisy, especially once the group discovered the collection of new kits in the nursery, and proceeded to examine them from the tips of their ears to the ends of their tails. More than once, Minnow had heard the warriors exclaim what fine warriors the kits would make for Meadow Clan. She flicked one of her small black and gray speckled ears towards her siblings, where Wavekit was currently flanked by two large warriors who were arguing playfully over who would mentor him, and kept her attention fixed on Petalstar, who sat at the center of several cats, with her scarred silver tabby deputy by her side. The clan leader seemed particularly happy at the moment, watching over the way the warriors were fussing over the kits and choosing out the best parts of the fresh kill to offer them with a distant smile. Now, Minnow thought, taking a deep breath into her tiny chest to prepare herself. Without another moment's hesitation, she stood and padded over to Petalstar, her tiny face held firm from emotion. Petalstar? Minnow meowed, planting her feet solidly and holding up her head to make herself heard. Petalstar blinked slowly and turned to Minnow, then smiled and nudged the silver tabby sitting next to her. Why, Fern Creek, look! This is Minnow, the little one I was telling you about. Petalstar's deep voice rolled over Minnow, a rich harmony that reminded the young kit so much of the purple blossoms that grew in abundance in the trees around the meadow. Why is it this cat, with her beautiful coat and beautiful eyes and beautiful voice, made the young kit feel so nervous? The tiniest tip of Minnow tail twitched as she fought back her nerves. Petalstar, now that more warriors are back, will we be able to go search for our clans and return home again? With so many warriors, we could probably go with them to help look for our clan territories. A shadow crossed the great white cat's eyes for a moment, but it might as well have been a glimmer of sunlight. Petalstar gave a small shake of her fur, shifting her paws as she leaned down to Meadow, a soft purr in her voice. Now, little one, don't fret. I know you are worried, but we have everything under control. Our warriors just returned with food and medicine, after all. Petalstar nodded towards the fat rabbits the other kits were eagerly eating. Since we have never heard of your clans, it would be a very long journey to find them. It is very dangerous, too. You never know what might be lurking out there, just waiting to snatch up a small kit like yourself. better to wait here. We will handle everything. Don't worry. Just enjoy the nursery, little one, and be happy. Petalstar settled back, her purple eyes glowing with satisfaction as she stared down at Minokit. Minokit frowned slightly, struggling to find a way to convince the leader, as Bumblecip tottered towards them, licking his lips free of the rabbit that he had filled his very round belly with.
We can help, Petalstar. Beakit and I are almost old enough to be paws. I mean, Briarstock said we're already big enough. He said that... What?
The Silver Tabby deputy suddenly burst to her feet, her fur bristling on end, and in a flash of movement, she stood towering over Beakit, her silver eyes narrowed. Did you say Briarstock? Her voice was a harsh hiss that sent Beakit cowering before her, his eyes wide with fear. Just whose kid are you, anyway?
We're Moss Clan,
Bumblecit squeaked, his eyes wide and his paws trembling before the transformed deputy.
Our mother is Honeywish.
I knew it,
Ferncreek hissed, her voice wild and low. She whipped away from Beakit, her fur bristling, and a low, whining growl starting.
I knew it! I'll bet that didn't take long. He's always had his eyes on her, always honey this or honey that, and now they're brats.
There was a soft rustle, only the quietest whisper of leaves, and suddenly Ferncreek was laid out flat on the ground, the great figure of Petalstar standing above her, her claws out and pressing into the deputy's throat deeply enough that blood was already dripping onto the grass. A shocked silence settled on all the gathered cats, every pair of eyes locked onto Petalstar's face as she calmly pressed her claws in deeper. You will stop, Petalstar murmured softly, her voice filled with a calm melody, as though she were speaking to a newborn kit and not drawing the blood of a warrior. Ferncreek gasped under her paw, wiggling violently for a moment, and then, slowly, went still, her eyes gazing up at Petalstar in compliance. Slowly, the great white cat removed her paw, allowing Ferncreek to stagger to her feet. Petalstar looked around herself at the gathered cats and flicked her tail slowly. Everyone, continue. We mustn't scare the kits, after all. There was a long moment's silence, and then, slowly, the MeadowClan cats resumed their conversations and eating. With shaking steps, Ferncreek returned to Petalstar's side, casting one long, last, hate-filled glare towards Bumblecit's way, before lowering her eyes and settling to groom her fur clean again. Minokit remained where she stood, her heart and mind racing. MeadowClan knew about the other clans, after all. They were just pretending they didn't. But why? Minokit was out of time to be patient.